What's up, Commanders fans? Welcome back to the channel. Just like our team on the field, we're always working to get better, always searching for ways to raise the standard and deliver real results. And if you love getting the inside scoop on everything Washington Commanders, make sure you smash that like button right now. It really helps grow our community. And of course, if you're new here, hit subscribe so you don't miss a single update all season long. Now, let's get into it. Washington got a huge win over the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 3. But unfortunately, the conversation today isn't just about celebrating that victory. It's about something else, something that could shape the future of our season. And yes, it has to do with one of the most important players in franchise history, Terry McLaurin. Let's start with the good news. The Commanders are back in the win column. A 41-24 victory at Northwest Stadium, a complete team performance, and a bounce back after the disappointment against Green Bay. Marcus Mariota, stepping in for the injured Jaden Daniels, managed the game beautifully. He ran for a touchdown, threw for another, and played like the seasoned veteran he is. The rookie class showed up in a massive way. Jalen Lane with a 90-yard punt return touchdown, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt with a hard-earned goal line score, and how about Luke McCaffrey catching a 43-yard bomb to seal it late? That's the type of complementary football that keeps momentum rolling. But here's the cloud hanging over all of that sunshine. Terry McLaurin left the game with a quad injury. Fans saw it happen late in the game. McLaurin had looked more like his old self throughout the afternoon. 3 catches on 4 targets, 74 yards, and some explosive routes that reminded us exactly why he's the heartbeat of this offense. After a summer filled with contract disputes and missed time, it was refreshing to see him back in rhythm. But then came the moment nobody wanted. McLaurin went down with a quad issue, and though he was listed as questionable to return, the Commanders didn't risk it. The game was already well in hand, and the staff wasn't about to gamble with the health of their star receiver. But here's the truth, though. Until further testing is done, we don't know how serious it is. And that's why fans are holding their breath right now. This team cannot afford to lose Terry McLaurin, period. Washington is already dealing with brutal injury luck this year. Jaden Daniels is sidelined with a knee sprain. Austin Eckler and Dietrich Wise Jr. are both out for the season. Noah Brown and John Bates missed Week 3. The depth chart is already thin. Take McLaurin out of the equation, and suddenly this offense looks very different. He's not just a wide receiver. He's the safety valve, the chain mover, the guy who always shows up in big moments. Even when defenses scheme to take him away, his presence opens up space for others. And let's not forget his durability. McLaurin has been one of the toughest players in the league since arriving in 2019. He doesn't miss games. He plays through pain. That's why fans love him and why teammates trust him. But even Iron Men can break down, and the thought of losing him, even short term, is chilling for this roster. This Commanders team has been snake-bitten when it comes to health so far in 2025. Think about it. Your rookie quarterback is out, your prized free agent running back is gone for the year, your defense loses a veteran edge rusher, and now your star wideout is limping off the field. Even head coach Dan Quinn got caught in the injury bug literally. A sideline collision with Mariota left him needing stitches during the game. If that doesn't symbolize the chaos of this season so far, I don't know what does. Still, Washington found a way to win, and that's important. Because good teams survive adversity, but great teams thrive in it. The question is, which category will this group fall into? Let's play this out for a second. Suppose McLaurin isn't ready to go in Week 4 against the Falcons. Who steps up? Deebo Samuel becomes the obvious number 1 option, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But remember, Samuel's best role is as a gadget player, moving him around the formation, using him in motion, handing him the ball, and keeping defenses off balance. If he's locked into a traditional WR1 role, you lose some of that flexibility. Luke McCaffrey flashed against the Raiders with that deep touchdown. Can he carry more of the load? Possibly, but expecting a rookie to replace McLaurin's consistency is unrealistic. Jalen Lane showed special teams explosiveness, but he's still raw as a receiver. And then there's tight end Ben Sinnott. He might suddenly become Mariota's best friend if McLaurin can't go, because short to intermediate routes will be crucial to keeping drives alive. The bottom line, without McLaurin, the passing attack is far less dangerous. The irony here is that Mariota actually played really well against the Raiders, and he did so without needing McLaurin to dominate. That's a good sign. It shows the offense can adapt when necessary. But make no mistake, Mariota isn't Jaden Daniels. He doesn't have the same arm talent, the same improvisational magic, or the same ability to turn broken plays into highlights. His strength is poise, experience, and efficiency. To maximize that, he needs dependable weapons. Losing McLaurin takes away the one guy who can bail him out in crunch time. That's why this injury scare, even if it turns out to be minor, is such a big deal. Next week's matchup against the Falcons suddenly feels huge. Washington should win that game. On paper, they're the better team, but Atlanta's defense is no joke, and without Jaden Daniels and potentially without McLaurin, the margin for error shrinks dramatically. The Commanders need to build on the energy of Week 3, but they can't rely on special teams touchdowns and defensive mistakes every week. They need their stars. And right now, the health of those stars is the single biggest storyline of the season. If you think back to Week 1, the Commanders lit up the Giants with 220 rushing yards. That was smash-mouth football. That was an offensive line leaning forward, backs hitting the holes with power, and an identity being formed. But then in Week 2 against Green Bay, it all went away. Just 51 rushing yards, a total collapse of balance. And with it, the offense looked completely lost. But here's where Cliff Kingsbury deserves credit. He looked at what went wrong, he looked at the players he had, and he said, we're not going to repeat that mistake. Even with Austin Eckler sidelined for the year, Washington didn't shy away from the run. Instead, they leaned on it. They trusted the depth, and it paid off with 201 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Think about that. 2 games over 200 rushing yards already this season. That's not a fluke. That's not luck. That's identity. And the Commanders re-established it in the biggest way possible against the Raiders. One of the things I love most about this game is that it wasn't just one guy. It wasn't the Chris Rodriguez show or the Krosky Merritt show or even a veteran like Jeremy McNichols carrying the load. It was a true committee effort, and each back had a moment to shine.
Chris Rodriguez Jr. got things rolling right out of the gate. He set the tone on the opening drive, lowering his shoulder, fighting for extra yards, and forcing the Raiders to respect the run. That drive ended with Marcus Mariota sneaking in for a touchdown, but the groundwork, literally, was laid by Rodriguez. Then came rookie Ja'Cory Bill Krosky Merritt, a guy who has quickly become one of the most exciting stories on this roster. He didn't just get carries, he got meaningful red zone opportunities, including punching in a touchdown. For a rookie running back to earn that trust so quickly, it tells you how highly this staff thinks of him. But the real fireworks came from Jeremy McNichols. Let's be honest, nobody had him pegged to break open the game. But in the second quarter, with the score tied 10-10 and momentum hanging in the balance, he ripped off a 60-yard run where he broke tackles, showed off his speed, and flat out embarrassed the Raiders' defense. That run didn't just put Washington ahead, it blew the game open. It was the spark, the statement play that said, we're not losing today. And I can't forget to mention Mariota himself. The veteran backup didn't try to be a hero, but he was part of the ground game too, rushing for a touchdown early and later connecting through the air for another score. That's exactly what you need from your backup quarterback: stability, leadership, and a willingness to do whatever it takes to help the team win. Now, let's put this into perspective. Dropping 41 points on any NFL team is impressive. Dropping 41 on a Raiders defense that had only allowed 16.5 points per game through the first 2 weeks, that's a statement. And it wasn't just points, it was balance, it was creativity. Washington averaged 6.3 yards per carry. That means nearly every rush was putting them ahead of schedule, creating manageable downs, keeping the Raiders' defense guessing, and opening up opportunities for Mariota in the passing game. This is the recipe. This is the formula. When you've got a young quarterback like Jaden Daniels who's already battling a knee injury, what's the best way to protect him? Run the football. Keep defenses honest. Take the weight off his shoulders. If this offensive staff remembers that, then when Daniels comes back, he's going to walk into a situation that sets him up for success. And let's be clear, this wasn't just about offense. When you run the ball like that, you control the clock. You control the tempo. You keep your defense fresh. That's how you win in December. That's how you win in January. And that's how you build a team capable of playing deep into the postseason. Now, before we all start printing Super Bowl tickets, let's remember, it's one game. The NFL is about consistency. The Commanders proved they can run the ball against the Giants and the Raiders. But can they do it against the Falcons next week? Can they do it when defenses stack the box and dare them to pass? Can they keep this committee rolling, or will someone emerge as the true feature back? These are questions that will define the rest of the season. But what we saw on Sunday was encouraging. It was inspiring. It was a reminder that even with adversity, even with injuries, this team has the identity and the depth to compete with anyone. So here we are, Commanders fans. Washington is coming off a statement win, but instead of celebrating without worry, we're left anxiously awaiting news on Terry McLaurin's quad injury. Will he be ready for Week 4? Is this just a minor scare or something bigger? Until we know, there's going to be a sense of unease hanging over this team. Because losing Jaden Daniels was already tough. Losing McLaurin too? That could be catastrophic. But here's the flip side. This team has heart. They proved it against the Raiders. Guys stepped up, rookies delivered, and Marcus Mariota showed he can still play winning football. Maybe, just maybe, that resilience will carry them through until the stars are back healthy. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think McLaurin's injury is just a small bump in the road, or are you genuinely worried about the long-term impact? And which young player do you believe can step up if Terry has to miss time? Luke McCaffrey? Jalen Lane? Somebody else? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading every single one. And don't forget, Commanders family, if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to Commanders HQ, and join us all season long as we ride the highs and lows together. This is where passion meets coverage and where your voice matters. Until next time, let's hope for some good news on Terry McLaurin.